The thing that's really special about High Rock Tower here in Lynn is that this land is actually owned and operated by the city itself, the Community Development Office. The property we're on itself, a couple acres, was given to the city by the Hutchinson family, specifically for the creation of an observatory, a tower where the citizens of Lynn could come to observe the heavens, of course, and also to discuss the sort of most compelling and interesting ideas of the day. Sort of a strong, long history of abolitionism here in Lynn. The Hutchinson family, of course, were very vocal opponents of slavery, having been friends with Frederick Douglass. The current tower was completed, I guess, around early 1900s. The previous tower here was burned in presumed revelry after the North was victorious in the Civil War. The current observatory at the top of the tower was finished in early 2000, so around 2002, which prior to then, the tower really wasn't accessible to the public. So after that investment and renovation by the city, then the tower became open to the public so that they could come and enjoy the sky. But also the dome we're currently in, which does rotate around so that we can track objects as they move across the sky. It also includes the telescope here, which is the Meade LX200 telescope. It's a 12-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain style telescope. With that kind of aperture, we can easily see the planets like Jupiter and Saturn and see the detail in them, like the rings of Saturn, the moons that orbit each of these bodies. You can see the great red spot of Jupiter, the northern and southern cloud bands of Jupiter as well. You can see Mars. It's a little small, but you can, if you're patient, make out some surface detail on Mars. So in the back of the mirror, the back of the sort of body of the tube is the primary mirror. And then that small disc that's cut out in the very center in the front, that's the secondary mirror. So what's happening is the light's coming in, bouncing off the back primary mirror, then it's reflecting off that smaller secondary mirror, and then being redirected back of the scope into this portion here. There's another small mirror, and then it gets bounced out through this aperture into the eyepiece, focusing it for your eyes to see whatever object you're focused on. It's about a 2400 millimeter path length, so we're really zooming in on the objects in the sky. Some recent improvements this year, we updated the lights all in the room. So these are all on a dimmer switch and have a red gel in there so that your eyes can not be photo bleached by white light. You can see where you're walking, but your eyes aren't being bleached to be able to see the things that are relatively speaking, dim in the telescope. One of the bigger projects was decommissioning the telescope, taking it off the platform here, this pier, and walking it down all 110 stairs downstairs to take it to someone to have it updated. Dr. Luke Conlon, I should say, from Salem State. He's another volunteer with us. He will take his homemade refractor style telescope, have that down on the lawn so that folks can enjoy the views down there through that telescope, see a different kind of construction, still see the night sky, still enjoy sort of the views available downstairs, but then won't have to summon the scope. Publicly held city observatory, that's rather unique. The only other one that I just found out about is in Lima, Ohio, actually. So it's really unique that the public has access to an instrument of this size. It's a 12-inch aperture telescope, which, as I mentioned earlier, allows you to really see a whole lot of stuff in the sky and allows us to do a lot of interesting things with the telescope. Other schools have them, but no cities do. So we get visitors from all over. Folks will come from California to see the observatory. We've had people from New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont driving down just by finding us online. And for those that maybe aren't interested in space, I encourage them to still give it a try because, it's really fantastic to see the rings of Saturn for yourself. I have even talked about the moon. The moon, of course, is very popular because there's such rich detail you can see on the moon, the lava plains, there's all kinds of scarps and fracture features, there's craters, there's mountains, there's shadow, there's light. It's really wonderful. Of course, there's the view. So if you come and it's the right time of year where we're opening right around sunset, then you can see the view of the ocean, of Boston, of Nahant, and it's really gorgeous up here.